uh, where do you rank? And we don't have to. We know his discography, but there's a period between when he was with Dre and then when he went down south, and I didn't wasn't really feeling that vibe, and it was just like he had a resurgence with Pharrell, but it was nothing like that he had when he was with Dre. He ain't never in nobody's top 5. He ain't in nobody's top 10. He ain't never mentioned in top 20 rappers of all time on the list I've seen. Definitely not top 10. Where do
Mhm.
you rank Snoop Dogg at? Or did hit or did that well let me preface my question because do you think that the with the departure of Dre and the and just the imploding of Death Row, do you think how bad do you think that impacted Snoop from being in that pantheon of all time greats, or regardless of that, he still wouldn't have made the list if you think based on the trajectory that he had from Doggy Style and because after that Doggy Style, the other albums just kind of went down to shit in my opinion.
Yeah,
But
I mean, definitely the departure from Death Row had something to do with it. Dre not being around and him not working with Dre definitely had something to do with it. The difference in styles
right,
had something to do with it as well. He did some okay things with No Limit. Pharrell, I think he did some things that kind of put him back in the public consciousness that made him mainstream wise, made him relevant again. I mean, I would have to say this. I think impact and influence wise, he's definitely arguably in the top 10 to top 20. Overall, I mean, I'm thinking you probably have to put Snoop, I would say somewhere within your top 30,
that's
20
fair.
probably. I
That's
mean,
fair.
because the some of the duds you can't ignore them. You can't do that.
That Doggfather shit
Yeah,
was
yeah,
trash.
yeah, it
That
was. And so I think, but you got to think, man. Snoop's had some comebacks, man. Rhythm and Gangster, the blue carpet treatment. Those things were things that were some pleasant surprises from some of the things that he did. Um, I think the bigger impact with Snoop is what culturally he has become within the pop culture world. We're just coming off of the Olympics this year. I mean, look at where this brother has come in 3 decades, man. He went from being, I would say, loved by a certain subsect of the culture, but then largely was abhorred based off the fact of what the content of his music was, to
mhm.
now being almost, I want to say, universally loved for the person that he is and his personality, to the fact that NBC was willing to give that brother however many millions of dollars to kick it for the whole Olympics, um, to
It's crazy.
watch events, to be an ambassador, to really be on our television, experiencing it almost like the way that we were, all up until the point where the closing ceremonies was when he went back home to where he's from in California, to where the Olympics will be at in 2028. And he was a part of kicking off what will be this road to LA in 2028 and being a part of that. I mean, just thinking about that, that's amazing. To think how far he has come. I mean, we talk about what he's done with Martha Stewart and the different things that he's been a part of. He's a pitch man now. He has so many brands that he does things for. um, he has obviously comedically been very likable to so many different other people out there. Part of the reason why NBC helped to bring him back, because he was in Tokyo, but there was a different set of circumstances in Tokyo with COVID and everything else. But part of his legacy is the fact that, man, he has now culturally become, I hate to say it, bigger than hip hop. Bigger than just hip hop and bigger than just being that 18, 19, 20-year old we saw who popped up on Deep Cover, who blew the rap world away with his debut album in Doggy Style, which culturally became a phenomenon that gave us so many different pop culture references, which we still talk about now to this day. Output wise, it's been a little, just a little disappointing and that's because of changes. Like when you work with different producers and people have different philosophies, you still keep the same rhyme style for the most part. You're going to get a little bit of that inconsistency. Now, had he been able to stay with underneath at least Dre's executive tutelage and being able to have to craft an album, he probably could have put out another classic album or two other than Doggy Style. I'm sure of it.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, he's still Even from what he did just off of Doggy Style, man, helped to inspire a generation of rappers who eventually then inspired another generation of rappers
Rappers.
to follow that blueprint that he did. I mean, I think when you put if you put everything together, cultural impact, the fact that he's now an icon, the fact that he was on a label, left that label under, let's say, troubling circumstances, and now he owns that label from which he left under troubling circumstances, and took it basically from the guy who, for lack of a better word, kind of threatened his life, you know. And now he owns that property lock, stock, and barrel. I mean, it's really an amazing story of what he has been able to accomplish based off of what he's done, not just in music, but outside of that, and the fact that he's created a lane for himself in Americana, really. So when you put that all together, then hell yeah, he's the top 20 rapper of all time, without a shadow of a doubt. Output wise, it's a little bit to be discussed, but you know, the impact of the things that did hit, it's undeniable. Absolutely undeniable.
Wow. Because you're right. When you take all things considered, man, you got to put it when you went broader than just hip hop and you start talking about his pop influences and stuff he did with Martha Stewart, and of course the Olympics. You can't get bigger than the damn worldwide Olympics.
Yeah.
And man, and Snoop is known all over the world, man, and somehow he's endeared himself to mainstream America, man. I don't know how he did it, but he did it, and they can't get enough of him. And
Yeah.
once you cross over, man, you get that type of bag. You bigger than hip hop, guy
Bigger
dog.
than hip hop, man. Bigger than hip hop. Yeah. But
So
he still took it to come back and then perform next episode with Dre to kick off the 2028 Olympics, man, with that countdown to LA. He still came
ooh,
back
yeah,
to
he
get back
did.
on that stage to come back home to where he say that, which is home. That's hip hop is home for him. That's what it is. That's where it all began. Hip hop is home for Snoop Dogg. Still, even after all this time.
Because you said Snoop Dogg influenced a generation of people, and it's true.